Eyes down for the Morning folks, Monday, a little bit cloudy, but quite warm, quite pleasant, and what have I got to do this morning? Well, that's going out in a minute, but may come back because I'm going to tell the guy that he can take it and try it on full pressure mains, and if it's no good to fetch it back. Right, so I'm going to dive into this recalcitrant bloody thing. I've already drained the fuel because I'm going to use a piece of thin wire or a piece of nylon string to pull that tube back into the tank. I believe that tube may deliver a pulse to the tank to keep the fuel flowing, but I'm not sure what it does, but I'm going to find out. Right, I'm going to get into this, get the handle off again, get it stripped, then I'll bring you back. Right folks, well I've got it all back together. I've got the pipes in properly this time. To get the pipes in, I used the same method. I threaded a piece of steel, this is very stiff wire, it's actually probably stainless, I'm not sure, down the pipe, ground a slight taper on the end, covered it in silicone grease and just pushed it through the hole by pushing the wire through and then just twisting the pipe. Once you've got it started, you can get long nose pliers on this end, long nose pliers, and pull it through, and it stretches it because you're pulling it. Instead of making the tube bigger, it actually stretches the tube, makes it smaller in diameter. It pulls through quite easily, but it does need a coating of silicone lube on it to get it through properly. Right, so that is all back together. I'm going to put some fuel back in it now because I drained the fuel. I also cleaned the fuel filter and see if we can get a tune out of it. Fingers crossed. Well folks, the pressure washer is gone, and he said, I'm not bothered, I'll get it serviced, don't worry, give me the money. Grabbed it and ran off, and that was it. It was a bargain, because I mean, a new seal kit, I charged him the price of a new seal kit, which is 40 quid, so he got a bargain, but I'm sure he can get it working. He's a whiz kid. Right, unlike me, who can't get this bloody thing to even fire now, and it's not picking fuel up, so I'm wondering if I've pulled the fuel pipe a little too much and made a little hole in it. These are a pain in the ass, they really are. Right, I think it's about time I just threw it in the bin and bought another one, but once I get my teeth into something, can't leave it alone. There's no logical reason I can find why it's not running, and there must be one. So I'm determined to find it. I'll bring you back if I do. Bye now. Right folks, I've made some headway. What was wrong, as far as I can see, is that I was assuming too much on this bulb. This bulb actually pulls fuel from the tank through the carburettor, then into the bulb, and then back into the tank. Now I have got that all sorted. It is running again, but it won't run without the choke on. You put the choke on, it starts straight away, you take the choke off and it cuts straight away. So I'm wondering if we've got an inlet leak, and if, I don't know if you can see down the back there, but there is a rubber inlet manifold on there. There's a large washing machine type hose clip on it. And I'm not quite sure how to get it out, so I'm looking to see if we've got an inlet leak. But we are making progress. I had to fit a completely new fuel pipe because the fuel pipe was inside the tank was broken, which is why I think it wasn't running. So we're beginning to drag it back from the shores of oblivion. Oh, I found I just checked the gap on I thought the spark was a bit weak, and I just checked the gap on the pickup coil here, which was good. But while I was in there, it seemed like the the actual flywheel was slightly loose, and I've tightened that up, and that seemed to make a huge difference as well to the ease of starting. So little by little, bit by bit, we're getting there. Bye now. Right folks, it's now not starting at all, again. I've realised what's been going on. When I pulled this pipe inadvertently out of the tank, I assumed, oh, that's the return pipe because it only just projects into the tank. Well, it wasn't the return pipe, it was actually the pipe that went to the filter, because when I emptied the tank and looked in the bottom of the tank, the filter was loose on a length of pipe in the tank. That was when I became confused about where the pipes went. For future reference, when you press the primer bulb does not pump petrol up to the carburettor. The primer bulb sucks petrol through the carburettor and puts it back in the tank. Right? So when I finally went online, replaced the broken fuel pipe, put the filter back on, cleaned the filter, put the filter back on, and then looked at what I had, I realised that I had had the pipes on wrong, because I presumed that was the return pipe, and it wasn't. It was actually the flow pipe, which should have gone straight to the carburettor. So as soon as I connected it all up right and the primer bulb worked again, it started, but it wouldn't run properly. It would only start with the choke on, and as long as you kept the choke on, it would keep running. As soon as you closed the choke, it's cut, which to me is saying leaky inlet tract, or small leak in the air inlet tract. This is a possibility, because as I said, it's a rubber inlet tract. You see, I mean, this saw has been super reliable and has done 4 years really quite hard work. So am I chasing my tail? Is it a waste of time trying to get it going? Is it actually worn out? I can't believe it is. It's got good compression. There's no knocking on it, there's no play on it I can find. So what's wrong with it? Something is stopping the carburettor working properly. If you have an air leak on the inlet manifold, it doesn't suck through the carburettor as hard as it should. It sucks air in when the engine is trying to suck petrol in. Therefore you get the choke on, give it super rich mixture, it runs. As soon as you close the choke, it cuts because there isn't enough mixture anymore to keep it running. I'm going to go home, do some research, and come back tomorrow bright-eyed and bushy-tailed and really enthusiastic. Or maybe I just won't. Bye now. Morning folks. Tuesday, 1 o'clock, and after a very dark and pouring rain start, it's fared up again. So I'm back, and it's getting personal. Now I can hear you all saying, my God, how does he have the patience on a bloody chainsaw? But after a certain time, it stops being a problem, and it becomes me driven to know why it won't start. It becomes an obsession, like it's OCD or autistic concentration. I have to know why it won't go. Right? I suspect. Problem is I can't find it. I can find an instruction manual, which I've got anyway, but I can't find a service manual. But I suspect that it may be an intake leak, an air leak on the intake side, right? Because sometimes it starts and sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't run right. As soon as you turn the choke off, it stops, which indicates it needs a very, very rich mixture to run at all. So I'm going to have a look. First of all, I'm going to try and start it again, and then I'm going to see what happens, and then I'm going to strip it again, remove the carburettor again, and see how we get this off, because behind there, you see that straight little, right there where my finger is that's one ear of one of those wire hose clips that holds the rubber intake manifold on. and I'm wondering if that's been a bit dodgy, and when I've taken the carburettor off the first time I've just moved it and it's split. I'm clutching at straws here, as you may have gathered, but there is a reason why it won't bloody run, and I don't know what it is. And especially seeing as it runs sometimes and not others. Sometimes it starts instantly and sometimes it's just dead. And I know the spark's good and consistent, so it's got to be fuel, because there's plenty of compression. So on we go. Bye now. Okay folks, I've had a big bench tidy and we've got it off, as you can see. It's all off in there. That needs a good blowout. Right, so this is the intermediate plate between the inlet manifold and the carburettor. That acts as a gasket and seals the carburettor, we hope. It seems okay. There doesn't seem to be any splits in this little rubber gudger thing. I've checked it out thoroughly, I've washed it all out. It was absolutely filthy with sawdust and everything, as you would expect. And there's the clip. I'm not sure how tight the clip was on, but I'm going to have a look at that in a minute. So it's a matter of giving that a blowout and then rebuilding it and seeing if it's any different. I will get to the bottom of this. I will. Right folks, that's the rubber inlet tube back on. Bit of a faff and a fiddle with that clip, because of course as soon as you release the I eventually did it with these, which have nice little grips right at the end. But as soon as you release the tension on it, it twists, and it's very important that you get that seated properly and get the rubber right onto the manifold. So the next thing to do is to put the intermediate plate on, pop the rubber through there, and then put the 4 screws in this, sorry, 3 screws. 2 screws at this side, you have to take this plate off, and 2 screws at this side, 1 screw at this side, sorry, which hold it in place. I did wonder why it seemed to be so firmly held in place, and yet it was on a rubber inlet manifold. But there you go, now we've found out. Right, let's get it clapped together. Chainsaw Wars, Day 4. It's running, again, badly. As soon as you close the choke, it dies. I've stripped the carburettor again. There's nothing wrong with it that I can see. I've blown it all out with electrical degreaser, which is the same as carb cleaner. And it's spotless. I can't understand it. I can't understand this. I'm going to do something different tomorrow, because I've had enough of this now. But we might be, I mean, if the weather's fine tomorrow, it's dog feeding day, and if the weather's fine we might do a bit of oh no, we can't. No, because Keith's going in for a treatment tomorrow, so it'll be a matter of getting the dogs fed and these off, so we'll wait and see. Right, that's it for today folks. I've had enough of this. It fires, it runs. You pull the choke out, you give it 7 pumps on the thing, you pull the handle and it starts straight away, and it runs and it runs and it runs, and as soon as you close the choke it dies. I just do not get it at all. Okay, bye bye now. Morning folks, Wednesday, and I've had enough of that. I need a break from it. He said, going on to say, I'm beginning to wonder. The spark is a bit weak, it's a bit reedy, it's a bit thin, and I'm beginning to wonder if it's failing under compression. There's plenty of petrol getting into the carburettor, and yet it doesn't even pop or bang. And I'm wondering if the spark is failing under compression. It would make sense, although it wouldn't make sense because it only came down here for a bloody primer bulb. There you go. Anyway, I'm leaving that for a minute because we have 3 working chainsaws anyway. Right, it's just that was the handiest and the best. Well, not the best, but the handiest certainly. And I'm going back on the Holbrook. I've got a Bodger's straight edge here, right, which is enough to allow me to take a leaf out of Haxby Shed's book, out of Paul's book, and write top on, so that I've got an idea of where the top of the bend is. And so far it's straightening out really well. So it's a matter of putting a block under this end, getting it at the maximum height and squeezing it down. I've been tapping it and that's got quite a lot of it out, but I think I'm going to have to rig up some sort of press. The problem is I haven't got a press, right? I could do with a press. I have got a press. I've got a, I wonder if I could use that. I've got this little press up here, look. I've got that. Maybe I could use that. I think maybe I could use that. Let's get it down and set it up and see if we can. Okay, I'll bring you back in a minute. It's very peaceful in here today. All the dogs have been done. I was here at 12 o'clock. So we had a good doggo session. It's bright, but it's dark skies. Never mind. Right, I'll set that up and I'll bring you back. Right folks, well, crude as it is, this is working very well indeed. We've got most of the bend out of it. The problems I'm coming to now is I have to bend it a very small amount. And firstly we have that, which is machined out of it, and then secondly we have a hole, which obviously weakens it in a certain area. But we are getting very, very close to being close enough. Right, I think I might pop it in the lathe and just spin it up and see what it's like. Okay, I'll bring you back when I've set it up. Bye now. Right folks, by pushing the tailstock halfway off the end of the lathe, I've managed to get most of it exposed. So what we have here is that's our high spot. So if we move to there and then we try moving along, we immediately start going back in again. So the centre of our bend is there, right, and that is going this way. So that's the top of the bend. That's about the centre of the bend, which if you look at my two marks, is pretty bloody accurate. And we're very close. We're not far out at all. We are, what's this in? And I can't see, it's upside down. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, about 35. The black one is inches. The black one is inches, the red one is millimetres. So the black one is inches. So about 35 thou out. Now this rod is the trip rod for the automatic screw cutting stop system, right? So it has to slide smoothly through the saddle, because if it catches at all it will obviously trip the mechanism. But there we are, we've found our bend. We can now mark it up properly, take it back to the press and see if we can press it straighter. And while I'm here, I've got 2 other jobs underway, or at least 2 other jobs imminent. The first one is to do this roof, because it's leaking there. I've been on to the chap this morning who does the steel roofing sheets. Unfortunately, the only stuff he's got in stock at the moment is 100mm, has 100mm of insulation on it, so it's like 4 inches deep. So I didn't really want that. But he's got another lorry coming next Wednesday, so I shall bring him after that and see if he's got any other stuff. The second job I have to do is to strip that down, find out what's wrong with it and put it right. Right, and probably modify it, because what I want to do is I want to lift it up, put the firebox underneath it so that it feeds straight into the cylinder, and make it a lot simpler than it is at the moment. Because this is, problem with that is every time you open the door the smoke pours out. When the smoke pours out, the fan picks it up, blows it around the workshop, no good at all. I would really like to put the fan somewhere else. If I had another hole in that wall, I'd put another duct in and I'd put the fan out there and make it blow into there. It wouldn't be difficult, would it? Just means cutting a hole in that wall. Well, we could always just cut one right next to that one. That might be the way to do it. That might be the way to do it. Mount the fan up there. Mount the fan up there where the where that CO meter is, and blow it straight back from there. And that way, we're taking the warm air from near the ceiling of the workshop and we're recirculating it. That's the thing to do, I think. Right, there's a revelation. I've straightened that out in my head, which is good. Because otherwise, any CO that's leaking, any smoke that's leaking, any muck that's kicking around in here gets sucked straight into that fan, and bloody disappears. Of course, I'd maybe have to move this fluorescent light along a bit. I'll move that duct over a bit towards there, and then I can get 2 on the end of the fluorescent light, but that's easily doable. The main thing is, this unit works really well, but it's stopped working. The fire won't burn. And the reason the fire won't burn, I'm pretty sure, is that my tube in the middle, which goes up to the top, has collapsed, has broken and collapsed, because I used a piece of drain. I used a piece of super sleeve drain, and I think it's got unevenly heated and has broken and collapsed. So that's another job that's to do. But now that I'm spending more time in the workshop and less time on field work, because field work's almost done now, I've got more time to do it. Right, onward. Right folks, after various little bends, I think you'll agree that that is running very close to perfect. Right, and it's close enough. I'm going to try it, but first I have another little job to do on the not the saddle, on the apron. There is a little component, bronze component on the apron that is worn, and I wasn't gonna, it's not that worn, and I wasn't gonna bother making another one, but when I tried the apron I find it sticks, so I'm gonna make another one. It's virtually, it's a hand filing job, but there's some turning in it, I think. So there you go, but I'm happy with that. That's straight enough. Okay, bye now. Right folks, there it is. Now my first That is a perfectly acceptable amount of wear on that side for a lathe that was made in the 1930s. But that isn't. That's been left partially in contact, right? And it's quite worn and it sticks. I put it back together first to check everything worked, and it did, apart from this, and it works, but it sticks. Now my first take on it is, why don't I just braze that up with some TIG brazing? And the thing is, I haven't lost anything if I do. I've also got a piece of material here that it would come out of. I'm sure there's one of those hiding inside there. I'll have to do a bit of offset turning in the 4-jaw truck, but that's no big deal, is it? So there you go. So which do I do? Well, the obvious thing to do is measure it up carefully first, and then after I've got dimensions and a plan, have a go at brazing it. And if it brazes up okay, then we'll call it done. We'll file it up and we'll call it done. Or I could make a new one. I shall think on it. But I'll probably have a go at brazing it anyway. Oh look, there's a cup of tea on the go. Time I drank it. Right folks, there's the component we need to make. Here's a piece of square brass that end would come out of. There's a piece of very high quality stainless rod that would make the pin, so we could make it in 2 pieces. We could use that to make it in 1 piece, which will require a bit of offset turning. We're going to have to reduce the end of the pin. What? We're going to have to reduce the end of the pin to make it go in, because of course if you look at that wedge is actually very little wider than the pin itself. So I think what I might do is just have a go at offset turning it. It's very straightforward, isn't it? But it won't be today, it'll probably be tomorrow, because today I have run out of time. It's 4:25, no point in doing it now. I'm very pleased with that straightening job. That's enough for today, so I'll see you all tomorrow. And it's an early start tomorrow because Keith will be no good for anything after his treatment, so I'll give him a day to recover. And then Friday I'm in York again, so I probably won't get much done Friday. Right, see you all tomorrow. Bye now. Right folks, Thursday, and I've come to the obvious conclusion. There's no need to offset turn that at all, because if we use slightly larger stock like this stuff, whoops, that went wrong, didn't it? Right, there it is. Ah! God, getting old shit. Right, okay. Right. There's no need, because we can turn that pin in the middle of slightly larger stock and then just cut it off short at one side. Right? So we can do it without offset, without messing about with 4-jaw trucks and offset turning. There is of course another problem which I've realised before and now I've realised again, and that is, which way around does it go? That isn't made like that by chance, it's made like that for a reason, and the reason will be the geometric layout of the leverage. Right, so what I'm going to have to do, it looks to me, if you look at that in there, that's the slot it goes in, it looks to me like it should be like that and not like that, but the simplest way to do it is to try it both ways and see which is the easiest. Right, see which is the easiest, and then we can work out which way it should go. Right, there we go. Right, I'm going to crack on with this. I'm going to crack on with this, and I might see if I can set you up on lathe cam so you can watch me make an absolute cock up. Of course, all we need to do is turn that in the centre, put the bar on a parallel in the milling machine chuck, and then mill either side, and we've cracked it. Cut it off and finish it off by hand. See, that end is rounded, that end is square. I wonder if that's our telltale. That's definitely been rounded. Let's wait and see. Bye now. Here we go with a bit of lathe cam. Taking off 10 thou, 20 thou off the diameter. I'm steeling myself to go gently because this pin is going to be fairly small when I finish. I want to get into the habit of not putting heavy cuts on. Otherwise I'll bugger it up. Fine, I've got plenty of material to go at. Even so, I'm going to make a pocket. I'll tell you what, I think I'm going to have to use another tool because this one's blunt. How many times do we dive onto a machine and use the tool that's in the machine and think, oh yeah, that'll do, when we should really go for something a bit sharper and a bit more suited to the job. What this really wants is a piece of high-speed steel. I'm using the tungsten carbide on it, which is a bit overkill, and it's also probably, is that giving it a 90 degrees? I'm using it because it's a left-handed knife tool. It cuts from left. No, it's not. It's a right-handed tool. It cuts from right to left, right? And it's also got a completely square side, which means it gives us a nice 90 degree shoulder, or thereabouts. What we probably want on this is slightly less than 90 degrees. Or should I say, am I saying slightly less or slightly more? Just so that it's not, so that it sits flat on the job. Right, I'm going to carry on tickling this down, but I'm not going to bore you with it. And I am going to change this for a sharper tool. This is ripping. I mean, it's not even a bad finish, but it's definitely not as sharp as it could be. I've got two choices now. I could take this to my green grit wheel and just put another edge on it, or I can select something completely different. Right, off we go. We're just taking the final little tiny shaves off it. That should bring it to size. I want to square that face up, but I want to get it to size first. Putting on the back edge of my tool, I know I shouldn't do it. Right. Let's see what it comes out to. 24.9. Bang on. Bang on. 24.9. You see that? There you go. $24.9. No, 25.3. I don't believe you. Let's get a micrometer and do it properly. 25.1. I think we've got it there. Right, let's get a micrometer, size it properly. Right folks, I've made a discovery. Whoops, wobbly camera. It depends where you measure the old pin, but that's about bang on. There's possibly 3/4 of a thou of difference between the two, so that's close enough for me. Right, change machines. Now, time to go onto the milling machine to mill it flat. Off we go. I'll bring you back when I'm sorted. I thought before I would start on the milling machine I would move all the broken glass out of the drip tray and chip tray, because it's not the sort of thing you want to be sticking your hands among, is it? This is from the disaster with the mains light bulb that's now running on 50 volts. It's an LED and it's running, as you can see, beautifully on 50 volts. So there you go. So I broke the bloody glass because I didn't realise it was glass. I thought it was plastic. Beware, some of them are plastic and some of them are glass. Bye now. Folks, just had a thought like you do when you're making something. I wonder if I've got a collet that this will fit in, because if I have, I can put it in my square collet block, do one side and then turn it over and do the other side. That would make it easier, wouldn't it? That would get us perfectly parallel. I'll have a look. Bye now. Right folks, the good news is I've got a collet. The bad news is it's as rough as a bull's lug. In actual fact, I think this is one that somebody has made, and to say that it's a homemade one, I know it looks to have it to be massively sprained, but actually it isn't. It's just different thicknesses of slots that's been cut in it. It's not bad. It's 3/4 and it's not bad for doing a 90-degree switcheroo. It's near enough, right, because that's all I need, but it's going to take some cleaning up before I can get it to fit, because the bronze has been hit and clobbered because it's been used as a punch at some time, and I'm going to clean that up and get it to fit. So I'll bring you back when I've done it. Bye now. Here we go folks. I'm only taking baby cuts off because I don't want to deflect it away from the cutter. I know you're all laughing, but we're doing alright. Another cut on. I've got my goggles on because grass is a bugger for flying. I've already got one chip on my glasses, I don't need another one. I had to stick the piece of bar in the lathe and just take a few thou off it to get it to go into this collet, which I'm sure is not mega accurate, but for doing a 90-degree flip over, it's near enough. I was going to use a machinist jack underneath this to support it, but as you can probably see, I'm right above the nut that holds the vice on, and I didn't want to put any more stick out on it. So there you go. Gently, gently catching monkey. Finish is good, that's what you expect with grass, isn't it? Or bronze or whatever it is. I know it's forged because it's been used as a punch. Coming down nice, you know. Faffy little thing to make, but well worth it, because as I say, it was sticking. You don't want things like that to stick. Get me out where you can see. And so on until we hit the mark. Here we are, folks, we're very close to it now. I'm going to take about so much off. I just want to close up on this very gently because I have a worn portion and an unworn portion. Obviously I'm measuring off the unworn portion, which is going really well. Yeah, we've a bit to go yet. See, obviously I don't want to cut into the shaft, but at the base of the shaft I've got a very tiny radius, and that radius fools the eye into thinking you're nearly there when you're not. But I'm going to carry on going very steady cuts and see how we go. Right, folks, there it is. Now I've left it, obviously there's plenty of metal to take off the sides yet. Oops, but I've left it 3 thou bigger than this one, because this one, not the worn part, obviously the unworn part, it's 3 thou bigger than that, because this is quite a loose fit in the slot, and it'll probably have to be a loose fit in the slot. But what I'm going to do now is part that off in the lathe and then start sizing it up. But first I'm going to have a cup of tea, because I think I've earned it. Right, there's the old and somewhere in there is the new. Right then, bring you back later. Yes folks, I bought the cheapest collet block set on eBay, 35 quid. But I wouldn't have done that job without it. And I've used this 3 times now. So it's been well worth the money. Each job I've used it for would have been really difficult to do without it. So there you go. Right, onward. I was going to part it off, and then I remembered that I'd rammed my parting tool into something and broke the end off it, so I had to go at resharpening it, but I'm not happy with it, so it's coming off with the Rapidor. And then some filing, and probably a bit of hacksawing. Wonderful things, Rapidors. Quiet, smooth, work away, and when I get this one rigged properly to a starter, instead of this bodged up piece of 3-phase cable, deadly! It will shut itself off after it's finished. Right, bye now. I'm waiting for a man coming from Leicester to buy some stuff. So there you go. Bye now. And there we go folks. Bit of filing to do, bit of size reduction, but basically it's still hiding inside there. We'll get it out. Right, I'm in York tomorrow, so today is the end of my week. So thank you all for watching. Thank you for sending the likes, keep the comments coming. And welcome aboard to all the new subscribers who signed up last week. There was quite a few. And I'll see you all on Monday. Bye now.